Hey everybody, Ronarray here, and today I want to talk about Merchant Guild in last Epoch. A lot of content creators are in love with Circle of Fortune. I'm on the other hand been playing Merchant Guild from the start, and I can say that it could be pretty great for many cases if you know how to use that. In that video, I'm going to do a comprehensive guide about everything that you need to know to make sure that your Merchant Guild experience is going to be great. I think for a lot of cases you should still consider Merchant Guild over Circle of Fortune, especially if you're not really playing a lot of hours in a day, and it could be harder for you to farm some particular item. So click on the timestamps if you're interested in some particular topic of the guide, and feel free to subscribe to the channel for more guides as well. Let's go! So the most important part is how to price your items and how to list them properly. A lot of people are running through the bazaar, checking every NPC around to pretty much price check every item. I think it can just ruin your experience, and I definitely recommend not to do that. So generally I just created a few stash tabs right here for 20k, 100k and 600k. That way I can always price check all the items at the moment when I loot them. So generally when I loot something, and I think it kinda looks alright, it goes for 20k stash tab. For example, if it has tier 6 modifier, but it's not something good. So stun avoidance on that ring, it's not something special, but maybe somebody needs that. I'm just placing it right here for 20k. If it has a pretty alright modifier like fire damage, for example, tier 6, I'm putting it to 100k, like fire damage again, critical strike avoidance, some resistances, so everything that tier 6 pretty much goes here. Or if you have like 0 forging potential on an item but a good bonus like increased health, for example. Yeah, I can't sell that, I know that. So last part is the most important part. You don't really need to focus on that and that. Just put all your bad items here and put them on the market. Maybe somebody will buy them, maybe not. It's not really that important. 60, 100k is the most important part. So generally you need special items for it. Those items you can even price check if you encounter. So one of the most important part is critical strike multiplier. If you have critical strike multiplier at tier 7, like that one right here, it could be amazingly good. You can sell such item for literally millions of gold, and it could work just fine. So critical strike multiplier, hybrid health, high tier of percentage health, and all of them combined together should pretty much all go for 500,000 tap. You can just price check them after you already put them in there. So the second question is how to price your unique items. When you're looting unique items, you probably noticed already that you're dropping a lot of them. Generally, most of the uniques with 0 LP or with 1 LP cost nothing. So generally I recommend to focus only on uniques with 3 LP and on some particular uniques that has 0, 1 and 2 LP. As you can see on the screen right now, there's a few uniques with 0 LP that can cost something and that I usually recommend to sell. Look at the rolls, especially at Omnis, and high Weaver wheel uniques can be pretty helpful to sell as well. For 1 LP you will be able to sell that set, and generally most of them are pretty good. I especially recommend selling Morning Frost boots because they are really common, they drop a lot, and even with 1 LP they cost around 100k. With 2 LP it's pretty much the same like with 1 LP, everything that costed at 1 will cost at 2 as well. If you drop anything like that, make sure to sell them. With 3 LP most of the uniques can cost at least something. I recommend to drop a few versions before you are going to price check. Or if it's one of the uniques from the list that I already showcased, make sure to go and price check it because some of the items can cost a lot. So another question is how to spend your gold when you got that. When you're buying items, it could be pretty annoying because you need to search for so many things. Generally, I recommend to go with a really simple approach. You need to pick the base that is pretty much working for you. For example, if I need mana, I'm going to take Arcane Visage right here. And then just take only one affix that is most important for you at the high tier. For example, I will need mana on that item. And put it to tier 6, because you don't really need to buy anything with less than that. So look, there are so many different options. I can pretty much choose any of them. You can check newest first, just like a few options right here, and after that go low to high. And that's pretty much it. Just focus on buying not the perfect items that you need, but just the item with a lot of fortune potential, one good modifier that you need, and good base by itself. After that, you can always reroll the item. You can always make it work. Don't worry if you will buy something that will not work for you. For example, you can get that helmet for just 20,000 gold, and that's it. You can fail crafting that, and well, you can buy another. You can buy one more, and one more again. So I'm just not really recommending to focus on buying items that are pretty much plain ready. You can also place tier 7 if you want, and it will be even easier for you. For example, you have a lot of helmets right here at maximum mana, which is honestly great. You can pick the good base, for example, that one. It has almost close to the maximum mana percentage on the base, and it has tier 7 mana already. So just search through them and that's it. If you don't have the items that you need right here, well, that's it. You can go and try to get some other upgrades for yourself. Another thing is pretty much uniques. For example, if you're interested in some particular unique, it's really recommended to go and buy 2LP version of that. For example, if you are interested in body armors, for example, and you want to get exsanguinous, it will take you a lot of time to drop a lot of exsanguinous with legendary potential 1, right? How many you can drop if you're playing Circle Fortune in a day? Can you drop 1 or 2? But here, well, you can get as many as you need. So place legendary potential to 1, change unique set here. For example, let's go with exsanguinous, and just search. Well, there's like crazy amount of items with 1 legendary potential, and they cost only 10,000. You can buy as many of them as you want, and you will be able to roll so many tries until you get and hit pretty much what you need. This is the best way right now to use Merchant Guild, just to buy a lot of uniques with 1 or 2 LP if they are cheap, and roll the stuff that you need on them. It will not help you to maximize your build, but it will make your character significantly stronger. Another thing that pretty much a lot of people doing wrong right now while they're playing Merchant Guild is constantly going to the bazaar without any reason. You don't really need to do that pretty often. If your stash tabs are not full with items that you want to sell, well, you don't really need to go to the bazaar. If you want to check if you sold something, you can click Y on your keyboard and that menu will open. Here it will show you if some items been sold. So if you have like huge number here, like 7 or 8 or 10, you can go to the bazaar and take your gold. Otherwise, well, don't go there. There's no point until you at least have enough items to play them. I generally go to the bazaar like once or maybe twice a day, that's maximum. And when you finally decide that you need to visit the bazaar, you don't really need to search the map for it. You need to just click Y, click visit the bazaar, and it will be open. After that, just travel, and you're already entering. That's much faster than opening the map and search for it every time. So another thing that pretty much worries everybody who's doing the Merchant Guild is favor. Because if you don't have favor, you can't buy all unique items and legendary items. I don't really think you need level 10, I never even pushed for that, but level 8 is pretty much recommended, and especially level 7, because that way you will be able to buy all exalted items. It's pretty important, because as I already mentioned, buying exalted items is one of the most important roles of the Merchant Guild right now. To get your favor up faster, you need to farm experience in the monolith. So try to kill some monsters, try to go for higher corruption, because at higher corruption you're receiving more experience, and that way you will receive more favor. Also, you can target experience tomes to get your favor faster. Experience tomes are pretty much providing reputation right now, and it's pretty important because it will help you to rise your reputation much faster to reach rank 7 and rank 8 to use Merchant Guild at its fullest. So another big question is pretty much how to farm gold efficiently. As you can see, I have about 30 millions right now, and a lot of people are asking me how to get more gold. Generally, there's like a few ideas that I can recommend. First off, you can sell the items, as I already mentioned. And second, you need to go and farm it. So for farm, I definitely recommend Grand Scales of Greed Blessing. It will give you 70% increased gold drop rate, and well, since you're dropping a lot of gold, it can help significantly. So I think it's a really great way to maximize your gold farming out there. Another good bonus would be to go and try to farm some special ecos with gold rewards. They're not really giving you a lot, but if you're farming them fast enough, well, it could be decent. I also recommend to farm higher corruption. I'm currently at 624 corruption right here, and I'm receiving much more gold than I received at 200 corruption. So if your build is capable of that, try to push higher numbers because you will receive significantly more gold. So running ecos pretty fast is pretty decent option to farm the gold itself. You don't even need to focus on piles of gold. You could just run normal ecos because you're going to receive some gold from the chest itself at the end. And that amount of gold can go up to 50,000 per one chest. If you're completing ecos fast enough and if your corruption is high enough as well, it will be pretty good way to farm, especially if you already have the blessing. So if you found a really good item and you want to sell it, there's like an option how you can make the most out of it. If you can have the item at your hand that perfectly costs a lot of gold, like at least a few millions, you can use Rune of the Creation on it. It will duplicate the item and reduce the forging potential of both the original and the copy to zero. For example, here I have a really good wand. It now has a tier 7 critical strike multiplier, close to the maximum. It also has 3 forging potential left. With that, I can pretty much go and reroll the wand, or I can use Rune of Creation on that. In that case, if I want to sell it or want to use one for myself, Rune of Creation can help me with getting the most of the situation. That way I can duplicate it, I can receive one here, and one here. Right now I have 2 wands, I can use one, and I can sell the second version. That way you can get most of your cool items, even if you don't really want to sell them. So another big plus of the Merchant Guild is idols. You can generally buy a lot of idols for your build with specific needs. For example, I need mana and armor and percentage mana idols. It will be very hard to drop those, but I can generally just get them from the market. So I can check mana and mana armor right here. I can sort, and that's pretty much it. I can have a lot of different options for pretty accessible price. It also goes the same when you need to sell something. If you're dropping good idols, you can sell them for pretty decent amount of gold. So generally, I recommend to focus on stout idols like this. 5% increased health and elemental resistances. I recommend on selling Shadow Dagger Penetration idols. Mana and Armor Mana is a decent option as well. And if you're dropping Vitality and Poison or Void Resistance, it pretty much sells really good as well. I'm not really price checking them one by one, I'm usually just putting them to some particular place, and after that, price checking them as a bunch. But don't sleep on idols, especially if they have a lot of resistances. Those are usually cost a lot. You can always place them at least for 50,000 or 100,000. That way you will be able to sell them if they're like any good. And you can price check the ones with higher rolls. For example, 5% health and 7% elemental resistance will definitely cost a lot. So that was my comprehensive market guide. That should help you to get the most from the market guild in last epoch. Hope you enjoy it. Please like and subscribe for more RPG content, and see you next time.